Hey, good morning. I hope you watched that video yesterday. Some of my kids really liked that second and third way of factoring. I think that second way was the lazy AC method, where you just brought down that leading coefficient twice and then found your magic numbers, put them in, and then divided by whatever that first number was. So that was kind of a nice, fast way to do things. On all of them, though, pretty much you have to keep finding those two numbers that multiply up to the third term but add up to the middle term. So that big X thing really, really works. All right, today we're going to kind of keep that factoring that we did in mind, but we're going to kind of go into a little bit different kind of factoring here, that we're going to get some bigger exponents than an X squared or something. We've been doing a little bit of this. If you've been doing my X method of factoring, we've really been doing factoring by grouping, and you'll see that today. So here's my warm-ups. I'm again hoping that 2, 3, and 4, and 5, that you're able to factor those rather quickly. Pause my video when you're ready to come back. Be careful on number 3 and 4, because if you notice, they're not in standard form. So whenever you're factoring, you want to put them in standard form. We've been practicing that for a long time. All answers should be put in standard form. So if we're going to factor, we want to move those things around until they're in standard form. Okay? All right. So let's see how you did. I just have the printed version here. Polynomials, the sum or difference of monomials. Okay, we call them a polynomial. First one there, I'm hoping you factored that one quite easily and quickly. Number 3, I got p minus 9 and p minus 4. Again, you had to put the p squared first and then kind of do all your factoring from there. You had to go p squared minus 13p's plus 36. So I wanted two numbers that multiplied to 36 but added up to a 13, negative 13. Okay, and same thing on number 4. You had to put it as a 2x squared minus 11x minus 21 before you started factoring. Okay? All right. So I don't have any work there shown because we should be really good at that by now. Now, don't forget this, okay? Because our first step should always be, like on number 5, is there a number that goes into 5, 13, and 6? And there isn't. And then we should ask, well, is there any variables all the way across? And so we kind of gotten away from that for a little bit here. But that should always be our first step. So today we're going to factor polynomials using greatest common factor. Again, we've kind of done this already. You're going to see that, when they have an AB times an AC, both terms have an A, and so they're factoring out an A, and what's left is a B plus C. Okay? So we're going to kind of do that today. All right? So we're going to start off nice and easy with reviewing using greatest common factors. And so we ask ourselves, is there a number that goes into the coefficients of 4 and negative 3? There isn't, but I can factor out an x. So I want to factor out an x, and what's left is an x, a 4x minus 3. Okay, if I had to check my answer, which I don't make kids, but I'm finding out that because they're not practicing, they're distributed properly, this is the answer. But yeah, I get back to what I started with. Now you'll notice here we have a y to the third, y to the second, y. And so when we factor these guys out, first we go by the leading coefficients. Is there a number that goes into all these numbers? 10, 5, or 10, 20, and 5. Okay. And we could say, yeah, 5 does. So we're going to factor out a 5. But I also see y's, y's, and y's. And so again, our first step going across is, can I factor anything out? So then we have a 2y squared, and then plus 4y's, because 4 times 5 is 20. I might have to, and then what do I need? 5y times what would give me a minus 5y, a minus 1. I don't need any more y's. Okay. Now our next step normally would be, can I factor this guy out? And I want to tell you today, they're not going to do that to us. They're all structured. But I would look, negative 1, and they have to add up, actually a negative 2, because 2 times 1 is a negative 2, and adds up to 4. So the only way you can get 2 is 2 times 1, and there's no way that I can get a 4 out of that. So this part right here is not factorable. But we should always check, okay? Because that's really the step that we should always be doing. Again, I'm helping you today by telling you there isn't any, I don't believe that's factorable. Okay, but we want to keep that in mind. All right, so over here I got a -12 and a -8. Now I want to put these in order. First of all, I just noticed that they're not in order. And now I still can pull out a -4. I want to pull out a negative because my first term is a negative, and I can pull out an x. So now what's left? I have 2x's minus 3. Actually, plus 3 because I have a negative times a positive equals a negative. All right. So this is my answer, including this number that I factored out. Okay. Next one here, I look at my 5 and a 7. Nothing. 5's prime and 7's prime, and they both don't have x's, so this one can't be factored. Some books and some kids our teachers would say, you factor out a 1, or you rewrite 5x squared plus 7. So I don't mind what you do there. You can do the writing of can't be factored or factor out a 1. Okay. All right. So here's the 4 for you to give it a try. Again, make sure they're in standard form first. So this one should be 9b to the 3rd plus 5b, and then factor it. Okay. So our highest degree always goes first. All right. So pause your video and do those 4 real quick, and come on back. All right. Let's see how you did. I had them typed up from last year. So I factored out a b, and if you put it in order, then your answer will be in order right away. I have a 9b squared plus 5. Can't be factored on that 1b. 1c, I factored out a y squared. Again, if I'm looking at my exponents, I want to take the 1 with the smallest exponent, because that's the greatest number of y's I can pull out. I can pull 2 out of that second term. I can also pull 2 out of the first term. And then that last one, again, you had to rearrange. Let's see here. Why did I pull out a negative? 4, 3, 2. I'm not sure why there's a negative sign there. I don't like that answer. I think this one should be a positive. That's 4x plus 2x minus 1. Yeah, there's no negative sign there. Okay. That was a mistake. I want to use the white marker there and get rid of that. Not sure where that came from. Should be 2x squared. Okay. All right. Once again, this can't be factored here. I need 2 numbers that multiply to 4. Well, let's just check, because maybe that can. I don't think so. So that would be a -4 on the top, and it has to add up to a 2. So I could do 2 times 2. That can't get me a 2. I could do a 4 times 1, but that can't get me a 2. It's the only way I can get 4. So yeah, we can't do anything with this one. Okay. So again, I think they're structured today that you can't do that. All right. So now these are the problems that kids are kind of really struggling with in my class, and it's kind of frustrating because they're making it harder than it really is. If they said that Mandy's calculator is powered by this, and they already told me that this is the area, it's 7x squared plus x centimeters squared. So again, tells me that this thing is a rectangle or a square, and we want to know what the dimensions are. We want to know what the length is and the width is. And so if they told me the area, that means they already multiplied length times width to get it. So if I factor this guy out, well, then I'll get two numbers here that they would have multiplied together. So I'm going to look at 7x squared plus x, and I want to ask, what can I factor out of that? The only thing I see is 7 and 1. 7's prime, so nothing there, but I can factor out an x. So I get a 7x plus 1. So this calculator's dimensions are 7x plus 1, in parentheses, we use the word by, and x. That's the dimensions of this guy. 7x plus 1 by an x. That's how they get area. They multiply. Now we need units. Okay. So these are both centimeters. So it's a 7x plus 1 centimeters by x centimeters. Okay. Try the next one. And oh, that was my answer for that one. Not sure why it says whiteboard problems. All right, do those. I'll fix that on the next one. I gotta turn my lights on. All right, so whiteboard problems are the same as if you did you try it, okay? All right, so hopefully you got 2x by an x plus 2. And again, you need units there. These are lengths, all right? All right, now, if you look at this one, we kind of already had done this one. When we were doing Fisher's way of factoring, you notice that when we were done factoring and putting these numbers out here, we noticed that these two binomials were the same. And so kind of what they did for us is they did half the work for us already. This is really, if I multiplied this out, this would come to a quadratic equation, okay? And so there's my x squareds there, and there's an x there. And so what they haven't told us is they've already done some factoring there, okay? So what we did is, if you remember, we took these two guys and put them together, but we're going to put them in standard form. So minus 2x plus 7 and x minus 3. We bring down one of those guys, okay? So there you go. How nice of them. Now, so this one's really a 1 in front of this. So we have a minus t plus 1. That's one of my factors. And see how these guys are both the same? That's a t squared plus 4. Now that's a perfect square right there. So really this one can be factored again, but we're going to do perfect squares next week. Okay, so right now I'm happy if you put those two guys together. Talk about perfect squares later. All right, now if I look at this one, are these really the same? They are, because in the parentheses here, I can put x plus 4 and put it in standard form just by manipulating it a little bit. So really, these two guys are the same. So again, it's going to be 9x minus 5 and x plus 4. Now again, these are parentheses and they're touching each other, that we want them to be multiplied out, okay? Again, this would be a quadratic equation if I multiplied this out using FOIL. They've already done the first step for us, okay? Again, I have an x plus 2 and an x minus 7. Now, we'll see on this one, I can't put these two guys together here because they aren't the same. So, let's see what we're going to do here. I think that might have, no, can't do anything. This one just can't be factored anymore. All right, can't be factored. These two guys aren't the same. All right, so here's the you give it a try. Do those guys real quick. All right, so down here on 3D, well here, let's see if we did it right. Yeah, did you get fooled on 3C? Notice that this one's a y here and this one's an x. So those are not the same, so they can't be factored. They have to be the same in order for me to bring them down. Now on 3D, you probably wrote an answer like this, 5x minus 2 times a 5x minus 2. A better way to write that, since they are matching, is it's the square of 5x minus 2, all right? They're both exactly the same, so we could say 5x minus 2 to the second power. Okay. Now, again, we've kind of done this already if you did it Fisher's way, but now look at, we got an a to the third out here. So when they say factor by grouping and we have 4 terms like this and they're all in standard form, very important, degree of 3, degree of 2, 1, 0, we just kind of do that wiggly line there right down the middle. And we factor out what's in the first half here. Well, we can take out a 3a squared. And then what's left? 3a squared times 4a minus 3 would be what's left. Okay. And now, what's going to happen over here? Well, I'm going to have again, I'm going to write 4a minus 3 automatically because I want these two guys to match up. And can I get something that would multiply times 4a to get back to 20? Sure, a 5. Now I check. 5 times the negative 3 is negative 15. So, just like we did before, We're going to put the two guys together, and we're going to bring one of those guys down. Now, if I multiplied those guys all out, we would get back to what we have up there. All right. Now over here again, we're going to kind of look and see if they're in order. They are. So we're going to draw a line down here. We're going to take out a 9x squared, because I can take an x squared out. And what's left is we have an x plus 2. So now I'm going to put an x plus 2 automatically over here. And what times x plus 2 gives me an x plus 2? A 1. So really my factors are going to be, my two binomials are 9x squared plus 1 and x plus 2. All right, so we are already kind of done this with that way Joe showed me, okay? Factor each polynomial by grouping. Check your answer. So here's the 3 triads. Now notice this one's in order, but this one's not. So before you factor it, put it in order. We got 4r to the third plus r squared plus 24r's plus 6. Now, down the middle, factor out your stuff, okay? Order matters. Okay, let's see how you did. I got 2b squared plus 3 and 3b plus 4. 4r plus 1 and r squared plus 6. Now up there where they said check your answer, here's what would happen if I was checking my answer. That would be a 4r to the third plus 24r's plus 1r squared plus 6. And then I would put it in order. 4r to the third plus r squared plus 24r's plus 6. And I bet I have all those terms up there. Yes, I do. So, even though I'm not making you check, you could always check. If it was a quiz or a test, I would check to make sure everything multiplies back out to get what I was working on there. Okay? All right, so factoring with opposites. Let's see what this is all about here. I can't remember from last year. First of all, it's all in, it's not in order. So I'm going to put it in order. 3x to the third minus 15x squared minus 2x plus 10. Now, let's see what happens here. So, can I factor out of there? I can factor out the 3x squared. And what's left is an x minus 5. So I want to write x minus 5 automatically over here. I want to take it times a minus 2 would get me back to minus 2x's, and that gives me a plus 10. So 3x squared. Oops. I need my minus 2. Minus 2 is in one of my parentheses, and then x minus 5 is in my other parenthesis. I don't know. I guess maybe they just didn't put it in order when they talk about the opposites of their sum. All right. So here's the last of the triads that you need to do real quick. Again, make sure they're in order. Line down the middle. And then factor. Over here, let's see, x and then xy. So that's in order. I would probably rearrange this one to say minus x, because x comes in the alphabet first. Then I would probably say plus xy, because that one has x's. X's come before y's. And then plus 8y's. And then minus 8. Now we're in standard form that if I do my line down the middle, that's going to make my life tremendously easier. And my first term's a negative, so I want to factor out a negative x. And then what's left? I have 1 minus y, I believe. So if I do a 1 minus y over here, well, I'd factor out an 8, negative 8. Actually, negative 8 times 1 would give me that negative 8. Negative 8 times a negative y, negative times negative is positive. So even though these guys are kind of backwards here, I'll still be okay. when I go to write my answer, I want to put it in standard form though. Okay, so I'm going to put my minus y first and the plus 1 because y comes first, 1. Okay, all right, so that's the best answer. Let's see how I did on the typing it up. Yeah, I have a y minus 1. I put it in. Nope. Let's see what happened there. I guess I didn't factor out a negative x. So this here still would be an okay answer. So this is where things get kind of corny for us. Okay. Let's just say what happened here. Maybe this answer isn't right. So that'd be 8y minus 8 plus xy minus x. So I have a minus x, yep. I have a plus xy, yep. Minus 8, minus 8y. So looks like I just went right for the get-go right there and did some factoring there. All right. So this is why it takes me so long for grading papers. And sometimes if I grade your paper, there is more than one answer like that. And so if you redid FOIL to check your answer and you're still saying you got it right, just send it back in and write me a little note. Okay. Sometimes I can't think of all the possible answers. All right. So that's what today's is about. When you get further down here, sorry about this, they're out of order, so don't panic. 1920, somewhere I thought I was out of order. Maybe not. Yeah, there's a 1920. Don't worry about it, the numbering system. These are the reviews to make sure that we haven't gotten out of practice on the things that we've already learned here. Okay. And there's a problem there talking about graphing. We're going to do more of these graphings to bring back that so that when we take the AZ merit test, it's not like a whole bunch of cramming. We want to kind of keep reviewing those concepts. All right. So with that, I think we're good for the day. Tomorrow will be just a short day of what we've already covered for a while here. And then Friday is just going to be a quiz. Okay. So if you're not here on Friday, you'll just have to take it when you get back. All right. Have a good day.